In this video, I will find the exact value of tangent of cosine inverse of negative 2 over 3 and cosine of sine inverse of negative 3 over 5. So let's learn the technique to get the value. So the first step is we start from the parenthesis. So we know the inverse function, like cosine inverse of 2 over 3, the output of inverse is an alpha, or the angle. For example, cosine of 60 degree equal to 1/2, then cosine inverse of 1/2 is 60 degree. So we know what this inverse does. So what we do inside of the parenthesis, I will label this parenthesis alpha. So here is alpha. I substitute this back. So then we have tangents of alpha. So we need to evaluate tangent of alpha. Back to this is exactly same as cosine of alpha equal to 2 over 3. So this is given. We are looking for tangent of alpha. Cosine of alpha is 2 over 3. This 2 over 3 is not something that we know it on the unit circle. On the unit circle, sorry about this, on the unit circle, the value of cosine is 1, radical 3 over 2, radical 2 over 2, 1/2. So you don't see 2 over 3. And they ask us to find the exact. That means we cannot use the calculator. So in this case, we need to draw a triangle. So let's draw a triangle. So I'm gonna make a circle. I'm gonna make a circle here. Basically, we're gonna use Pythagorean theorem. Before we apply the Pythagorean theorem, we need to know where is this alpha. Should I draw a triangle on the first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, or fourth quadrant? So we know cosine has inverse alpha should be between 0 and pi. So between 0 and pi, we know cosine has inverse. So that means we can make a triangle in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. And tangent has an inverse on quadrant 1 and 4. Therefore, we will draw a triangle in quadrant 1. So I randomly make a triangle and I label this alpha. Cosine of alpha is x over r. So this is 2 and the r is 3. We solve for height or y. With Pythagorean theorem, we have h squared plus 2 squared equal to 3 squared. H squared equal to 9 minus 4 equal to 5. Then h equal to radical 5, which is positive radical 5. And when you solve this one, that means you saw. So now we are looking for tangent of alpha. Tangent of alpha is y over x. So it will be root 5 over 2. And we're done. Let's work on the second question. So the main thing is we inside of the parenthesis we need to call it alpha. Similar question, they're asking us what is cosine of sine inverse of negative 3 over 5. So this inverse, inside of the parenthesis we have sine inverse of negative 3 over 5. I call this alpha. Then sine of alpha will be negative 3 over 5. So back to the question. If the parenthesis is alpha, then we are looking for cosine of alpha. If you solve for cosine of alpha, that means you answer the question. So now we have sine of alpha is negative 3 over 5. We are looking for cosine of alpha. Negative 3 over 5 is not on the unit circle. So it would be a good idea to look for the unit circle, to look for the theta if you see the value of sine. But none of the alpha gives us negative 3 over 5. But that means that we need to make a circle. So we draw a circle. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So which quadrant we should draw a triangle? Sine of alpha is negative. Sine of alpha is negative in quadrant 4 and 3. And sine has inverse in quadrant 1 and 4. And we learned that sine has an inverse function from when theta is between negative pi half and pi half. So this is pi half, that's negative pi half. So then because of sine of alpha is negative and we have an inverse function, sine inverse is between quadrant 1 and 4, we make a triangle in quadrant 4. So this is my triangle. I call this alpha. Then sine of alpha is y over r. So this is negative 3 and 5 is hypotenuse. If we use Pythagorean theorem, I call this one x. We have x squared plus y squared equal to r squared. We have x squared plus 9 equal to 25. X squared equal to 25 minus 9 equal to 16. X will be plus minus 4. We will get x equal to 4, the positive one, because x on this quadrant, x is positive, so this is 4. Now that we solve the triangle, we go back to the question. We are looking for cosine of alpha. Cosine of alpha The answer is, cosine of alpha is x over r. And this question will be 4 over 5. And you're done. So let me explain again here. At the beginning, we start with cosine of sine inverse of negative 3/5. We call this one alpha, correct? Then if I substitute alpha here, then this is going to be cosine of alpha. So if you answer this, that means you answer the question. We solve cosine of alpha is 4 over 5. That means cosine of sine inverse of negative 3 over 5 is 4 over 5.